That brown bottle of hydrogen peroxide sitting in your bathroom cabinet costs about $1. But the mobile RV techs and professional detailers who charge you $200 a visit, they are reaching for that exact same dollar bottle, and they just do not advertise it. From your roof to your water tank to that funky smell you cannot track down, one cheap bottle can replace a whole shelf of specialty products. So grab it and let us get into it. Number 1. Sanitize your freshwater tank without the nasty bleach taste. Every RV owner knows you are supposed to sanitize your freshwater tank at least twice a year, and definitely before you pull the rig out of storage. The problem is, the standard advice always points you straight to bleach. And sure, bleach works, but then you are stuck flushing that swimming pool taste out of your lines for what feels like forever, and you are never quite sure you got it all before you fill your coffee pot. Here is the trick the pros do not lead with. Hydrogen peroxide sanitizes your tank just as effectively, and it breaks down into nothing but water and oxygen. No lingering chemical taste, no harsh residue coating the inside of your plumbing. The method is simple. Drain your tank completely, then add roughly half a cup of standard 3% hydrogen peroxide for every 10 gallons your tank holds. Top the tank off the rest of the way with fresh water, then turn on your pump and run every faucet, the shower, the outdoor spigot, and the toilet until you actually smell that faint peroxide bite coming out of each one. That tells you the solution has reached every inch of your lines. Let it sit for a few hours, or overnight if you can, then drain it and flush with clean water until the smell is gone. One pro tip that makes a real difference: hydrogen peroxide works harder when it is warm, so running your water heater to warm the system before you let it sit gives you a deeper clean. And because peroxide leaves no aftertaste, most people only need one rinse cycle instead of the 3 or 4 that bleach demands. You get clean, fresh-tasting water, and you save yourself an afternoon of flushing. Number 2. Erase those ugly black streaks off your rubber roof. If your RV has a rubber roof, and most do, whether it's EPDM or TPO, you've probably watched those black mildew streaks creep across the top and then run down your sidewalls after every rain. It's the number one thing that makes a perfectly good camper look neglected and old. Now, here's where a lot of folks make an expensive mistake. They grab a bottle of bleach because bleach kills mold, right? The trouble is, bleach can dry out and degrade a rubber roof over time, and there are plenty of horror stories of people cooking their membrane and turning a cleaning job into a re-roofing job. Hydrogen peroxide is the answer the roof manufacturers themselves quietly point you toward. In fact, Dicor, one of the biggest names in RV rubber roofing, lists hydrogen peroxide as an approved way to remove mold and mildew stains. It kills the growth without attacking the rubber the way chlorine does. To use it, get up on the roof safely, wet the area down, and apply 3% peroxide right onto the black spots. Let it sit for a few minutes so it can do its work, then scrub gently with a soft bristle brush and rinse thoroughly. Make sure you rinse the sidewalls too, so you don't leave dirty runoff streaking down your nice clean paint. One thing worth knowing while you're up there: the only cleaners you genuinely need to avoid on a rubber roof are petroleum-based solvents like mineral spirits and acetone, because those can loosen the adhesive holding your membrane down. Peroxide isn't a solvent, so it's in the clear. Keep your roof clean a few times a year with this, and you'll stop those black streaks before they ever reach your walls. Number 3. Melt baked-on bug guts off your front cap. Anybody who's driven a long highway stretch in the summer knows the pain. You pull into camp and the entire front cap of your RV is plastered with a solid, crusty layer of dried bug guts. And if you've ever let those sit for a day or two in the sun, you know they practically weld themselves to the fiberglass. Scrubbing at them with a regular sponge just smears them around and risks scratching your finish. This next one is a trick that motorcycle riders and truckers have used for years, and it works beautifully on an RV nose cap. Pour some 3% hydrogen peroxide into a spray bottle, then mist it generously over the bug-covered area. Here's the key detail most people miss. The reason the spray bottle method works so well is the atomized peroxide reacts with air, foaming up and lifting the dried protein off the surface. So don't just wipe it on, spray it on and let it foam and sit for about 30 seconds. Then take a damp microfiber cloth and the bugs wipe right off, no aggressive scrubbing required. For a really thick, densely splattered nose cap, you can bump up the power by making a loose paste of baking soda and water, working it over the area with a damp microfiber, and letting that superfine grit gently polish away the last of the dried-on stuff. It's cheap, it's gentle on your gel coat, and it saves you from ever needing a special bug remover product again. Just one heads up. If you run a carnauba wax on your rig, keep the peroxide fairly dilute and rinse well afterward so you don't leave any water spotting on that fresh wax. Number 4. Save your moldy awning from the trash. Let's talk about the one that genuinely saves you serious money. Your awning. If you've ever rolled up your awning even slightly damp, which, let's be honest, we've all done when a storm rolls in and you're trying to break camp fast, then you've probably unrolled it later to find dark mold and mildew blooming across the fabric. And once mildew sets into awning fabric, most people assume it's game over and start shopping for a replacement. Here's the sticker shock. Replacing an RV awning typically runs anywhere from $500 to $2,000 once you factor in the fabric and labor. So when a detailer or a dealer takes one look at your moldy awning and tells you it needs replacing, understand what's actually happening. They are about to make a few hundred to a couple $1,000s off a problem a $1 bottle can often fix. Hydrogen peroxide is one of the best awning rescuers out there for one big reason. It kills mold and mildew. But unlike bleach, it's color fast. Bleach can strip the color right out of your awning fabric and leave you with faded blotches. Peroxide cleans without bleaching out your stripes and patterns. For a vinyl awning, mix roughly 1 part 3% peroxide to about 6 parts water. Spray it onto the moldy areas and let it sit before gently scrubbing with a soft brush and rinsing. For tougher set-in mold on fabric, you can go a little stronger. But here's the critical safety step. Always test a small hidden corner first and don't leave it sitting too long, because at higher strength and longer dwell times, peroxide can start to lighten colors and stiffen fabric. Work in shorter cycles, rinse, and repeat as needed. And do the whole job out in the sunshine if you can. Sunlight boosts the peroxide's mold-killing power. Then, and this is the part everyone forgets, let the awning dry completely, fabric side facing out, before you ever roll it back up. That single habit is what prevents the mold from coming back. Rescue that awning yourself, and you've just kept $300 and very possibly a whole lot more right in your pocket. Number 5. Knock out the dreaded black tank funk. There's no smell quite like RV holding tank funk creeping up into your living space on a hot afternoon. It can turn a beautiful weekend into a miserable one. And while there are 100 expensive tank treatments on the shelf promising to fix it, a lot of veteran RVers swear by a peroxide-based trick to blast out odor and break down stubborn buildup. The method works like this. With your black tank empty, add about a gallon of water, along with roughly 4 ounces of ordinary baker's yeast and around 10 ounces of hydrogen peroxide. Then go for a drive. Head to your next campground if you're on the move. As you roll down the road, all that liquid sloshes and foams around inside the tank, scrubbing the walls, attacking odor at the source, and helping loosen solids that regular flushing leaves behind. When you get where you're going, dump the tank, refill with a little water, and then add your normal tank treatment. Now here's the insider detail that keeps you from wasting your money. And it's exactly the kind of thing nobody bothers to tell you. Peroxide will kill live bacteria and enzymes, including the yeast in this mix and the beneficial bugs in most biological tank treatments. So don't dump peroxide in on top of your enzyme-based additive and expect them to team up. The peroxide just neutralizes the biology you paid for. Use the peroxide method as a periodic deep clean and deodorize on an empty tank, then bring your regular treatment back in afterward. Bonus round, That same rotten egg sulfur smell that sometimes comes out of your hot water side, that's bacteria living in your water heater tank. Draining the heater and letting it soak with some hydrogen peroxide for a few hours before flushing it out will knock that smell right down too. Number 6, bring sun-yellowed plastic back to white. This one feels like actual magic the first time you see it. Recreational vehicles are covered in plastic, appliance panels, vent covers, trim pieces, and light lenses. And after a few seasons baking in the sun, all that once crisp white or cream-colored plastic turns an ugly, splotchy yellow. It makes even a well-kept rig look tired. Most people just live with it because they assume the plastic is permanently stained. But that yellowing isn't dirt, and it isn't really a stain in the normal sense. On a lot of these plastics, the yellowing is a chemical change in the surface caused by years of ultraviolet exposure. And here's the wild part. Hydrogen peroxide plus sunlight can actually reverse it. This is a trick the folks who restore vintage electronics have used for years to whiten yellowed computer and console plastics, and it works on plenty of recreational vehicle plastics too. Here's how to try it. Remove the plastic piece if you safely can, and give it a good cleaning first. Then coat it with hydrogen peroxide. A thicker peroxide-based cream or gel clings better to vertical and curved surfaces than the runny liquid, and either wrap it in clear plastic wrap or set it in a clear container and put it out in direct sunlight for several hours. The ultraviolet light activates the peroxide, and as it works, that yellow fades back toward the original color right in front of you. Flip or rotate the piece so the sun hits it evenly. A couple of honest caveats because results do vary depending on the exact type of plastic. Always test on a spot that doesn't show first and keep an eye on it rather than walking away for the whole day, since uneven exposure can create light and dark patches. But when it works, it truly looks like you bought brand new trim for the price of a bottle from the drugstore. Number 7, deep clean and deodorize your RV fridge. RV refrigerators are their own special challenge. They are small, they get turned off and shut up tight between trips, and the next time you open the door, you are hit with that stale, musty, sometimes downright moldy smell. And because it is the place you store your food, you really do not want to be spraying harsh chemical cleaners all over the inside of it. This is where hydrogen peroxide shines, because it is a genuinely effective disinfectant that is far gentler and less toxic than a lot of commercial cleaners, which is exactly why it is a favorite for surfaces that touch food. Empty the fridge, pull the shelves and bins, and spray 3% peroxide over all the interior surfaces, corners, and door seals where mildew loves to hide. Let it sit for a few minutes to kill the mold and bacteria, then wipe it all down with a clean, damp cloth. For those rubber door gaskets, which are notorious for growing black mildew in the folds, dampen a cloth or an old toothbrush with peroxide and work it right into the creases. That is usually where the lingering smell is actually coming from. And here is the habit that keeps the funk from ever coming back. After you have cleaned and dried the fridge at the end of a trip, leave the door propped open while it is in storage so air can circulate. A tray of baking soda inside helps too. Do that, and next season you will open the door to a fridge that smells like nothing at all, which is exactly what you want. Number 8, turn your cramped galley into a food-safe kitchen. Cooking in an RV means working on tiny counters, in tight quarters, often with limited water. Keeping food prep surfaces genuinely sanitized, not just wiped down, but actually safe, matters even more when you are miles from the nearest urgent care. And there is a specific hydrogen peroxide trick here that most people have never heard of, even though it came straight out of food safety research. It's the 2-bottle method. You keep white vinegar in one spray bottle and hydrogen peroxide in a separate spray bottle. To sanitize a cutting board or countertop, you mist the surface with one, then mist it with the other, one right after the other. Food scientists studying produce sanitizing found that misting with vinegar and then peroxide in either order killed dramatically more bacteria like Salmonella and E. coli than using either one alone, and it outperformed some standard cleaners while doing it. But pay very close attention to this part because it is the whole trick. You keep them in 2 separate bottles and spray them one after the other. You do not mix vinegar and peroxide together into one bottle. Combining and storing them together creates peracetic acid, which is an irritating chemical you do not want to be making and breathing in your enclosed camper. Sprayed separately, in sequence, they are a safe and incredibly effective 1-2 punch. Rinse produce with water afterward. The beauty of this for RV life is that both bottles are cheap, they store flat in a drawer, and you are not hauling around a bunch of specialized kitchen sanitizers. $2 store spray bottles keep your galley genuinely food safe from your driveway to the deep backcountry. Number 9. Banish skunk, smoke, and pet smells from your upholstery. Last but definitely not least, this is the trick that has saved more camping trips than people realize. RV upholstery and carpet soak up smells like a sponge, campfire smoke, a wet dog, a kid getting carsick on a mountain road, or the absolute worst-case scenario, a curious pet that got a little too close to a skunk and then bolted right back inside. There's a legendary home remedy for exactly this, and hydrogen peroxide is the hero of it. Mix roughly 1 quart of 3% hydrogen peroxide with about a 1/4 cup of baking soda and a teaspoon or 2 of Dawn dish soap. This is the same basic formula that's recommended over and over again for de-skunking, because that combination chemically neutralizes the stink compounds instead of just masking them with fragrance. Work the mixture into the affected upholstery or carpet, let it sit for a few minutes to break down the odor at the molecular level, then blot it up and rinse the area with clean water. For everyday funk like smoke or musty storage smell, the same solution lifts odors and stains out of fabric beautifully. The one rule to respect: hydrogen peroxide can lighten some fabrics and dyes, so always test a hidden patch first, don't let it dwell too long, and go a little more diluted on anything dark or delicate. Mix this batch up fresh each time you need it, rather than bottling it for later, since it loses its punch once it's combined. Keep the 3 ingredients on board, and you'll never be held hostage by a smell you can't get out of your rig. And there you have it. 9 ways 1 cheap brown bottle can do the work of a whole cabinet of pricey RV products and save you real money the pros would rather you spend with them. If any of these earns a spot in your rig, do that dollar bottle a favor and give this video a like and hit subscribe so the next batch of tricks lands right in your feed. Now go grab your peroxide and put it to work.